Put on the kettle and let's get started making homemade tortillas. This year, I'm setting out to make as much of my family's food from scratch as I possibly can, starting with tortillas. Last year, we gave up purchasing bread from the store, and this year I'm determined to not purchase tortillas. Being from New Mexico, homemade tortillas is not something that's new to me. I have made them before or been given them by friends or family. Tortillas are actually really easy to make. Let's start by adding in 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. You'll see me adding 2 here, but that's because I'm using a half teaspoon. You can either use kosher salt or sea salt. Once those dry ingredients are added, go ahead and give them a little mix. Next, we're going to be adding in an oil base. For this recipe, I'll be using 1/3 of a cup of lard. If you don't have lard, you can use vegetable oil, shortening, olive oil, melted butter. Any of those will work. Lard is just more traditional for our neck of the woods. All right, let's go ahead and add that to our ingredients and mix it together until it forms a fine crumble. A lot of times when I'm working with bread, I usually just use my hands to mix. There we go, a nice fine crumble. Let's go ahead and get our bowl on the mixer and then add in our dough hook. And now's the time to add in our boiling water from earlier. Make sure you have the mixer turned on, and then you're going to slowly add in 1 cup of slightly boiling water. Don't dump the water in all at once. Make sure that it just kind of drizzles into the mixer as it is stirring. Go ahead and mix until you have a nice dough ball. All right, once you have a dough ball that is formed, go ahead and lightly flour a surface. Your dough should be elastic and stretchy, but not sticky. To shape our tortillas, I'm just going to take my dough ball and divide it in half. Then I will take each of those halves and divide them in half until you get 8 equal pieces. Don't worry if your pieces are not exact. The tortillas will still turn out just fine. Once you have your 8 equal pieces, go ahead and give them a little roll just to kind of shape them a little bit better. And then we're going to let those rise with a tea towel covering them for about 10 minutes. While those are rising, go ahead and get whatever you're going to be using to heat up your tortillas nice and hot. I'm going to be using a comal to heat mine. I have my comal heating to medium-high heat. So I'm going to begin shaping my tortillas with a rolling pin. I start out by flattening them and then turning a 1/4 of a circle each time and then rolling until I get them nice and round and thin. And then I put them on the comal and heat them up until they're nice and bubbly. When you see the bubbles forming, that's when you know it's time to turn them. So go ahead and give them a turn and then heat the other side for just a few minutes and then place them in a tea towel to stay warm. So here we go again, the one I just rolled onto the comal. And while that one's heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and get another one ready to roll. So here's a closer look. Go ahead and flatten it out. Turn a 1/4 of a turn, roll, 1/4 of a turn, roll, 1/4 of a turn, and just keep continuing that pattern until you have your tortilla about the size that you want it. All right, onto the Crumble. This one goes. Be careful with the bubbles that are forming because they will cause a steam burn. You'll go ahead and flip that one and let it go for 1 or 2 more minutes on the other side. And just like that, you have a delicious batch of homemade tortillas. I hope this inspires you to make some homemade tortillas.